Hey folks, Leave here once again. Welcome back to another review. Hope you enjoy my review of Justice Society World War II. That's on my channel right now. Guys, also welcome to my new channel. Well, this has been my new channel for since last June. It's getting close to being a year. Sometime here in June, it'll be close to being a year since I've been on this new channel. Not yet, but anyway, guys, it's with the mask profile picture. Yeah, from the Jim Carrey movie, The Mask. Profile picture of the mask doing this, with a smile with a yellow hat. Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you for 260 subs. Keep on subscribing, guys. Also, share my channel. I appreciate that. Recommend it to people if you have the time. I appreciate it. It helps support it. And I would do the same thing for anybody else on YouTube if they ask me as well. You know, there's some people I could recommend, like Ramble for Life, OCP Communications, uh, John Avenger, his new channel. Yeah, quite a bit of people I could recommend, but I'm not here to do that. But anyway, just well, I am, but can't recommend. Or Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, Esley Career. If you love horror movies, check out his channel. Yeah, see, I definitely do things for them as well. You know, some other YouTubers or YouTube movie reviewers as well. I recommend. But anyway, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed my reviews of Justice Society World War II. As you guys know, if you're watching my channel lately, I've been doing a superhero marathon. I've been doing what I call the 2020s era of superhero reviews. These are superhero movies that came out in this decade with the 2020s that we're living now, 2020 to 2025. I don't know if I'll make it to 2029. I doubt it by then, but I might be finished by then and moving on to other videos by then. Yeah, I'm not waiting until 2029. I'm like, no, we got like, what, 4 more years to get that? Yeah, 4 more years I might be doing different videos by then. So, different reviews and marathons and stuff by then. Anyway, but for now, I am doing the superhero marathon. And like I said, I've been on the year 2021. I reviewed two movies that was Justice League and Justice Society World War II, so DC movies. Now I'm getting back into Marvel MCU. This film is the 24th film in the MCU. MCU, directed by Kate Shortland, starring Scarlett Johansson, David Harbour, Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz. And honestly, I did not care for this movie. Now, and that is of course Black Widow. Yes, I was always loved this character. Marvel wins again. I disagree. This is probably gonna be rant. I did not care for this movie. Well, let's say rant review. I don't fully hate this film, but I didn't like this film. I just didn't care for it. For me, after Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, I love that, but after that, Marvel just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me anymore. Marvel sometimes just doesn't work. Their movies are not as great as they were when we got into the 2020s. I'm not blaming COVID. This movie did get delayed 3 times. Now, if you don't believe me, if you go on my other channel, on trailer reaction videos I did, thoughts on videos, trailer reaction videos I did, I talked about like the teaser trailer, the new official trailer, and like the new trailer, whatever, like 3 trailers I talked about because I really wanted this movie to happen because I love Scarlett Johansson as the character. Ever since Iron Man 2, I've liked her, and I really wanted to see her in a movie. And honestly, I was very disappointed what they went with it. It reminds me, like I think this copies some other Marvel movies as well. It did for me, and honestly, I just thought this was very disappointing. Yeah, I didn't care for this movie, so this is gonna be a rant. This for me, like after Endgame, it's just like Marvel just didn't know where to go with their movies. Like we were just getting this movie thrown in our face, and people out there apparently like this movie, I guess, and that's fine if you do. To each his own. But I don't understand. I don't get the appeal of it, especially if one's puke face, I call it, because I cannot stand her. Anyway, let's get into the movie, shall we? So I can get this done because I got work tomorrow early in the morning. So basically, David Hayter said on this version of the film, and it failed to move forward, was that what he tried to do is use the backdrop of the Soviet Empire, a lawless, insane asylum, foreign to some old nuclear weapons missiles too. We had Tomb Raider and Kill Bill, which were the ones that worked. So I guess they tried something different, but I guess it didn't work, whatever. In February 2004, Lionsgate acquired the film rights for the Marvel Comics character Black Widow. Now, this was the time, 2004, you had with DC, you had Catwoman that came out that year. And of course, the next year after was Elektra, which sucked. Yeah, I would say this was nearly as bad as, in my opinion. Yes, in my opinion, I'd rather watch Wonder Woman 1984 with Gal Gadot. I'd rather watch Captain Marvel with Brie Larson. That was better than this. Heck, I even watched the Marvels. and that film flopped at the box office. Yeah, I'd rather watch Supergirl the movie. I'd rather watch Black Scorpion. Black Scorpion was a lot better than this with Jonas Savarn. That was a lot better. I can't say that's your name right about Michael up right now, but I do read that on my channel. I do like that film. It's an underrated movie, TV movie, and that was a TV movie that had better special effects in it than this, in my opinion. Yeah, and a better villain as well. You know, yeah, Breathtaker was a pretty awesome villain. At least I thought he was. Other female, I really watched Tank Girl. I don't like Naomi Watts, but I can somewhat deal with her over Florence Pugh, though I don't like either of them. But at least I have Laura Petty and I can have fun with it. That movie's very bizarre, weird, but I can have fun with it. You know, Catwoman and the Lecturer with Halle Berry and Jennifer Garner. Those films still suck. I still think it's trash. Despite and Wonder Woman 2009 movie and Wonder Woman Bloodlines is better than this movie. And like I said, the Marvels as well. Anyway, in April, this was also before the MCU happened. David Hayter, Hater, can't David Hayter. He also co-wrote X2 and Watchmen. Wow, he could have actually made this work as a writer and director of the film. But Marvel Studios, Avery Edward producing. Avery Edward has produced many Marvel movies. By June 2006, Lionsgate had dropped the project and the rights required to Marvel Studios. Hader and Marvel tried getting another financier to develop the project, but Hader did not feel that they were found another place that was willing to take the movie. He cared seriously. Hader said that this left him heartbroken, and he hoped the film would be made someday. Which is sad, though, because I think they should have gave him the chance to do this film. Marvel Studios ever talks with Emily Blunt to play Black Widow in Iron Man 2. Thank God that didn't happen. But she was unable to take the role due to previous commitment to working in a Jack Black movie called Gulliver's Travels. In March 2009, Scarlett Johansson signed on to play the role, the other including options for multiple films. In September 2010, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige discussions with Johansson already taking place regarding a Black Widow standalone film. But Marvel's focus was on the crossover film The Avengers, which I do think they could have done this film earlier. I think this one came way too late, you know. And of course, she did start her role in The Avengers and Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, and Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Then, at the release of Ultron, Johansson revealed the number of films her contract had been adjusted since she first signed on to match the demand of the character. Marvel had not anticipated the audience's positive response to the character and Johansson's performance, which was a positive response. They should say, yeah, people like her, people love her, so yeah, let's make her a movie. After teasing Black Widow's past in Age of Ultron, they said that February 2014, that he would like to see it explored further in a solo film. Development work for this had already started, including a pretty in-depth treatment by Nicole Pierman, who co-wrote Guardians of the Galaxy. The following April, Johansson expressed interest in starring in Black Widow film instead of be driven demand from the audience. In July, Hader expressed interest in reviving the project for Marvel, while director Neil Marshall said monthly that he would love to do a Black Widow film. Marshall said he was fascinated by a superhero and their extraordinary skills. Neil Marshall, who directed Dog Soldiers, The Descendant, Doomsday, Hellboy from 2019, did he direct that? Yes, he did, and that film was awful. Which I think David Harper also starred in that movie. That film is even worse than this. An ex-KGB agent assassin. In 2015, April 2015, Johansson spoke more positively solo about Widow film, seeing the potential to explore the character's different layers as depicted in her previous appearances. However, she felt that the character was being used as well in this part of the universe at the time. Running Civil War the next April, David Marvel's announcement schedule for films for Phase 3, potential Black Widow film, would be 4 or 5 years away. Here that Marvel was creativity and emotionally committed to making a Black Widow film eventually. Josh Whedon, the director of The Avengers and Age of Ultron, said in July 2016 that he would be open to directing a Black Widow film. That would have been awesome. He liked the idea of making it a period spy thriller. In October, Johansson discussed the potential film being a prequel, saying, "You can bring it back to Russia. You could explore the Widow program. There's all kind of stuff that you could do with it." She cautioned that she may not want to wear a skin-tight catsuit for much longer. By the next February, Johansson said she would dedicate herself to making a potential Black Widow film. Amazing. It'd be the best version that movie could possibly be. Otherwise, I would never do it. It would have to be a standalone film in its own style, and it's its own story. Due to development work already done and the public support project, studios decided to move forward with the film at the beginning of Phase 4 in 2020, following the conclusion of the Infinity Saga with Endgame when that concluded. Johansson said this decision had become more reality during the filming of Infinity War, while Ronald's death in Endgame. Johansson felt that there was no pressing urgency to make Black Widow film, and that it would improve the project's quality. Feige met with Johansson to discuss the direction of Black Widow film in October of 2017. Marvel then began meeting with writers for the project, including Shay Schaefer and Jessica Chow, who pitched the idea by Grosse Point Blank, in which Roanoke would have been planted in a high school to assassinate a target, and then 20 years later, attend a high school reunion where she had to deal with the fallout of her earlier actions. Heavily featured the character She-Hulk in Marvel Studios executive Greg Winterborn, sorry, felt can't say the name right, instead producing the She-Hulk film that featured Black Widow. They would later be hired by Marvel Studios, but then of course they got TV show She-Hulk Eternal, which that show sucks, I think. Even worse than this. Schaefer met with Feige in December and was hired to write the screenplay by the end of 2017. Schaefer and Johansson were set to discuss the direction of the film at the beginning of February 2018. Marvel began meeting with female directors to potentially take on the project. Part of the push for major films to hire female directors for the franchise. Yes. I'm sorry for sounding sexist. I'm not. Patty Jenkins did a great job directing both Wonder Woman movies, but you don't need a woman to always direct a female superhero movie, okay? There's a lot of great female directors out there, like Penny Marshall, just because I watched Big yesterday. I think she also directed Awakenings. There's a lot of great female directors out there, you know. But you don't need to have some kind of agenda. Well, we need to make it's a female superheroes or have a female director. Not all the time. Including Denise Camps, Shelley So, who went on to direct Marvel's Eternals. Never seen that, but I heard it wasn't good. Lucia Del Muerto was also approached but was discouraged when she was told that she would not have to worry about the action scenes. She also felt the music and visual effects of Marvel films were horrible. The director saying this, by the end of it, Kate Blanchett, yeah, yeah. But they chose Kate Shortland, whatever her name is. Not Blanchett, not the actress, Kate Shortland, yeah. And she felt Marvel films, the visual effects of Marvel were horrible. No, they weren't. A lot of them were good. Yeah, but it's horrible what you did. You know, his visual effects and everything were horrible. Marvel will not give her final cut privilege. So almost a short list of 49 directors was made before the top choice of Kate Shortland and Maggie Betts with Feige and Johansson Jr. Johansson was a fan of Shortland's previous female starring film lore and was the one who approached her about directing the film. Shortland was hired in July and watched all Romanoff's MC appearances in preparation for making the film. Did you watch Avengers Age of Ultron? Apparently not. She earned for starring in the Avengers. She got $15 million for doing that movie. Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth each earned $15 million for the third films in their franchises, like Civil War and Thor Ragnarok, respectively, as well as Infinity War and Endgame. Despite the Hollywood Reporter claiming that their report had been confirmed by multiple sources, Marvel Studios debated its accuracy and said that they never publicly disclosed salaries or deal terms. The Walt Disney later said Johansson earned $20 million by the end of July, including her was she's also an executive producer on the film. As Roanoke dies during the events of Endgame, the film is set earlier in the MCU timeline. Yeah, the main plot of Civil War. If you're gonna go earlier, you should have gone with after Iron Man 2. Because it was the first time Roanoke on her own and not noticed to be a larger organization such as the Red Room or S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers. This means that the film is an origin story for Roanoke, which Feige wanted to avoid because he felt that it was the expected direction of the prequel, which I get that. You need an origin. You don't. I don't want an origin story either. Pre-production. In February 2019, Ned Benson was hired to rewrite the script. Feige confirmed that, despite rumors, the studio did not want the film to receive an R rating. That part would have been cool, but I'm okay with it. Then Florence Pugh in negotiations to the cast as a spy. Elena. I don't care if this character's from the comics. Just get different actors to play her, a better actress. The series returned to Pugh after she received strong reviews of her fighting with my family. Diamond Grayson, J.G. Jones co-created Bolivia. They got $25. She got $25,000 for the role in the film based on the 2007 agreement. Well, ultimately received $5,000 due to contract. And Pugh was confirmed having cast. So was David Harper, Rachel Weisz, and yeah, other versions of the script that including a scene several featuring Roanoke and Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark Iron Man. Downey was part of appearing in the film. Fans also expect Jeremy Renner to star the MCU as Clint Barton. Thornton and Feige ultimately decided against including other heroes as Roanoke could stand alone. Though Renner does have an uncredited voice, only cameo. Eric Pearson, who wrote who, in his writing career and Marvel screening program, wanted to work on several MCU projects, were hired during pre-production to rewrite the film's script again. I wonder if the film did get reshoots. Probably did. He ultimately received sole screenwriting credit. Shortly, Johansson decided to take the inspiration from the television series The Americans, which is about a Russian undercover spy family, but Roman's own family of Russian spies. When Pearson joined this film, the opening sequence probably set in the 1990s with Romanoff and her family living undercover in the Midwestern United States. The rest of the film focuses on the family coming back together in present day, seen later in the film that they are reunited around a dining table. All the MCU projects that they have worked on. Pearson found Black Widow's setting with the MCU to be the most difficult to get right. This because he wanted the audience to feel that the villain could succeed without breaking the timeline, which would be difficult considering audiences had already seen Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. He chose to focus on the Red Room, the Black Widow's return, and its leader. Parsons thought that the film's spy thriller tone helped the concerns about the villain. A scene at the end of the film which Thaddeus Ross pursues Romanoff was typically left unresolved. Shoreline wanted to leave the audience on a high, questioning how she escapes, rather than exhausting with another fight. This is followed by a scene that connects this film to the end of Civil War. With Romanoff leaving on a Quinjet to save the Avengers. She is wearing a vest, a vest given to her by below and dyed her hair blonde, which forces Infinity War. First said that her discussion about ensuring the film was appropriate for for Romanoff. They wanted to feature the greatest hits of the character. Black Widow expands on the Budapest hints by having Romanoff return there and revealing some of the mission's details. Dreykov is rumored to be the head of the room, who Romanoff believes to have been killed during the earlier mission. Johansson wanted to comment Me Too movement, which showed women supporting each other, coming through the shared experience of trauma on the other side. This in the way Romanoff was forced by the rebel of Bolivia to confront Dreykov and her past trauma. Johansson was grateful to have the film to commit on those ideas. He stipulated that Romanoff and Barton used Dreykov's young daughter as bait to be killed. Believed that the girl had no died in the process. There was heated conversation. Other versions of the script, they had a competent character, Taskmaster as the villain, Penny Masters. First, I'm moving towards the most durable villain, photo better than storyline and timeline, which I'm not going to spoil here. Film began on May 28, 2019 in Norway. Trolling took inspiration from films like How to Train Your Dragon, Thelma and Louise, and Country for Old Men, as well as Captain America the Winter Soldier. I knew it! Sorry. Just watching this movie kind of made me think of that film. Yeah. Yeah. Trolling also represents scenes involving female characters in Alien, also in the Terminator franchise, which were done better, by the way. She edited together fight scenes from the different films and the shorts, and I'm not sexist. Those movies, including Captain Marvel, at least you have some bad in the Marvels. You have some badass fight scenes with those movies. Yes, I'll say it. All reports suggest that Rob Hardy would be the film's cinematographer. Marvel one shot, Item 47 Agent Carter, which I didn't care for Agent Carter. First, he was not credited for Black Widow's trailers. Pointed out by Jeff Snyder at Claudio. Hiring was confirmed. Sherlin preferred to avoid technical equipment where possible in lighting, which provided a challenge for having to match the light locations used to later. Filmed in some parts of the movie filmed in Los Angeles. Lighting outside. I'm just reading. The production moved to Pinewood Studios in London early in June. Shoreline hired someone to help Johansson and Pugh bond through trust exercise and other bonding activities, but they felt that real bonding happened during Pugh's first 2 days of filming. They worked on an early fight scene between Romanoff and Bobolov. Pugh got some satisfaction from her working on Fire Family. Johansson gave her advice that she had received from Sam Jackson about working on Iron Man 2. Pearson was set to hear a joke from Pugh, but they do expose that Johansson often lands him while fighting as a run-off through her MCU appearances, resulting in them adding some jokes from that to run off about the poses in the script. Ray Winston joined the film's cast later in June. When filming took place in location, they used 13 BMWs to create a car chase in Romanov and Bella in Budapest. Shooting took place in mid-July 2019 in England. Post-production, Matthew Schneider and Leo Boyd served as editors on the film. Parts of the film's handling of Romanov's backstory have been 85% correct prior to the start of the filming, and the rest determined during the editing process and additional photography. Winston disliked return for the additional photography, feeling his performance was being criticized by more studio executives He wanted to be ruled to be recast instead, but currently obligated to return. A scene of Romanoff wearing underwear and t-shirt that Charlene enjoyed due to how sexy she's in control was cut from the film. Contestants criticized the scene as using as a male gaze. Black Widow was one of the few more films to feature an opening credits sequence, which Feige explained is because Sterling about Sterling Dragoff is responsible for that at the beginning of the film. The sequence, worked with Sterling to film first, see that there were too many look if they were captured on 8mm. Sorry, I can't say it right. But Disney removed the film from its release schedule due because the film was supposed to come out, I think, in mid-March. Well, actually May, I think. But this film was also being filmed in 2020. That's when COVID-19 happened. So the film got scheduled. It got delayed like 3 times. They announced that it would be released on November 6, 2020. The rest of their phase forward said the films were shifted to like dome this, but then Disney pushed back the release again to May 7th. But by third, eventually the film did get released on July 9th. Julie Dreyfus does have an appearance as Valentine Allegra Devant in the Marvel Studios television series The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Fish said that this explains Black Widow's post-credit scene, which of course Marvel does. Remember, the MCU does have that post-credit scene. Yeah, some digital effects in there that they added. The visual effects were included by ILM, Chesney, Digital Domain, Magic, Digital Domain, Scaling FX, and some of the special effects for the movie. Trick, they created Test Master's Mask and worked on several action sequences as well. ILM did some of the fight scenes for the climax of the movie, special effects for the film. Alright, now for the cast of the movie. Well, anyway, let's see, like I said, the film got delayed 4 times. In summer, in July 2021, Johansson filed a lawsuit against Disney over the simulated release, which was settled 2 months later. Trying to see if I can read more into this. Oh, Johansson, she filed a lawsuit against the Walt Disney Company that the release of Black Widow theaters on Disney Plus previously in a contract that released at theaters. I'm like, honestly, your movie sucked anyway, so why are you making a big deal about it? You know, if you ask me, Scarlett Johansson just did this movie for the huge paycheck. I guess she wanted that $20 million. Real bad cast. So for the cast, she was Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, an Avenger, highly trained former KGB agent, assassin, former agent of Shield. I think Scarlett's first movie, if I remember, it was Home Alone 3. I remember her in Eight Legged Freaks. She voiced the character Mindy in SpongeBob SquarePants, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And her first appearance in Marvel was Iron Man 2, the Avengers, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, the Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain America: Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. She did a voice for Sing, and I remember that movie Lucy. I haven't seen it, but she did some other action movies as well. Other movies as well. Florence Pugh, which I don't care for. She's a sister Roanoke who was trained in the Red Room. Yeah, don't care for this actress at all. British chick, yeah. Thank you, Marvel. We don't need a British chick in this movie. Find My Family, which is a movie I really never had any interest in seeing. Yeah. Well, let's see. TV. She did come back in 3 episodes of Black Widow, probably trying to, yeah. And of course, Thunderbolts, which came out in May recently, which I've heard good things about, but I have no interest in seeing that film, mainly because I heard and Avengers Doomsday. Sounds like I don't care about another Avengers film either. So, and David Harper as Alexei Totov, regarding the Russian super soldier counterpart to Captain America, father figure to Roanoke from Bolivia. I like David Harper. I love David Harper. I like him as an actor. If you want to talk about superhero, though, he was in the Green Hornet, but yeah, he was as D.A. Frank Scanlon, but he was alright in that movie. That film I think sucked with Seth Rogen. He was in Quantum of Solace, a James Bond movie. Not a big part, but I'd rather watch that over this. Suicide Squad, the 2016 film. So he's been in some other superhero movies before, just not didn't have big parts. I'm still trying to say huge parts like he did in this movie. Didn't have a huge part in those films. I remember him in Welcome on the Tombstones with Liam Neeson. And he did come back. He would come back. He came back as character in Thunderbolts, and of course in Avengers Inc. Doomsday. Doomsday. I do like Violent Night. I really like that movie. I gotta do that if I ever do like a Christmas review one year. I gotta pick that movie to review. Antonio Fernand as Rick Mason, an ally from Shield past. Well, he did decently in this movie. I wish they would give him more to do. He has a romantic history with Natasha. Okay, they could have explored that a little more. Oglia Oglia Carlunch as Antonio Drago, Taskmaster. She can mimic fighting stuff. She's like kind of like a robot, you know. But I like that they brought Taskmaster in here. Yeah. And I do like the actress. I think she was also in Quantum of Solace, I believe. You know. Yeah, I remember her in that. She was in Oblivion. Yeah, Oblivion with Tom Cruise. I liked her in that. I like the actress. The November Man with Pierce Brosnan. Johnny English Strikes Again. Extraction 2. And Thunderbolts. She came back as the character as well. William Hurt as Thaddeus Ross. The late William Hurt. Sadly, he passed away in 2022. Yeah, a year later after this film. Yeah, you can just kind of tell in this movie I think he was sick as well. Wait a minute, let me look him up again. What did he pass away of? Let's see. It was bone terminal prostate cancer. Hmm. Barry Winston as Dragoff, who's the main villain of the film, a Russian general in the head of the Red Room. Let's see. He's been doing movies since like the 80s. He was in the Chronicles of Narnia. He voiced Mr. Beaver in the Chronicles of Narnia, the first one, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Oh, okay, he was Mac. Hi, Mac. You know, and then in Indiana Jones Kingdom Crystal Skulls, which I think is better than this movie. Edge of Darkness, I think I remember him in that. Noah, I don't think I've seen that movie. Point Break, the remake. Yeah. Rachel Weisz as Melina Votov. And I don't like this actress. I'm not a fan of her, but that's just another English actress I don't like. Yeah. I remember her in The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, but I'm glad Maria Batillo replaced her in the third movie. And she was also in Constantine 2005 with Keanu Reeves, which I did not like her in. Just not a fan of this actress. I'm sorry. Yeah. You have Michelle Lee and Nani blown up appearance Red Room. Assassins. Julie Dreyfus was part of Julie Dreyfus. Let's see. Y'all probably should know her from Seinfeld. She was in the TV movie with Disney with Drew Carey in the movie Geppetto. A Bug's Life, she voiced Princess Ada. Onward, she voiced the mother. In Black Widow, she's also as a full time in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. In Thunderbolt, she comes back as the character as well. Okay, she does play the character 2 episodes of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't know that because I haven't watched that show yet. Also, the film is directed by Kate Shortland. I don't think I've ever heard of her before. But as director, let's see, was this movie? I haven't seen the 3 movies in general, but she hasn't directed a movie since. Dennis worked on some Eric Pearson did the TV show. Wrote the script for the movie. Films like Iron 47, Agent Carter, which I didn't care about. Ant-Man, Spider-Man: Homecoming, but he's uncredited. He only did rewrites only. Thor Ragnarok, which I do enjoy. Infinity War, Endgame. He did and Pacific Rim Rising and Pokemon. This has for Pikachu, but he did only did rewrites for those movies. Godzilla vs Kong, this movie Black Widow, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, additional literary material, so maybe some rewrites. And Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four steps. I'm a little concerned because I don't think his writing is that good. I'm sorry. Now I don't mind that he do some rewrites on Infinity War and Endgame, or on Ant-Man and Ant-Man and Wasp the Ant-Man movies, but writing for the movie, dude, you really do not know how to write a movie. I'm sorry. Story is by Jake Schaefer, a lady, who also wrote the script. Well, uncredited for Captain Marvel and the Hustle and Black Widow. Which again, I don't think they. Nan Bitson, who I'm sorry to this just me criticizing. This is part of a review. Just being honest. Yeah, I don't think they're writing and then telling the story, and every person's the writers, and did not do a good job telling the story in this movie. Based on Marvel Comics, produced by Kevin Feige, cinematography is by Gabriel Brinston, which I admit that some of the cinematography is nice in the movie. Worked on MacGyver, the I guess remake show that didn't work. Hawaii Five O, I guess a reboot, whatever. And for some movies like Bloody Fresh, Cargo, I can't say it. K2, Fatal Instinct, Greedy, Blade 2, which I also like Blade 2. At least that had the balls to be rated R. That was Marvel too, but different character. Edited by Leah Paulson Boyd, Matthew Schmidt, who edited some MCU films like Winners of Captain America: Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War, and Endgame, and also this movie and Thor: Love and Thunder, which is even worse than this. Other films like Contact with Jodie Foster, The 13th Warrior. I think that was with Antonio Banderas. Floor Damage with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Daredevil, which is a Marvel movie with Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner, I Robot, which I love that film. I love the cinematography in that movie. Yeah. And Thor: Love and Thunder, and Captain America: Brave New World, and the Old Guard 2, which I think is a sequel to the movie with Charlie Theron. Music's by Lauren Baff. He did music overs like Megamind, Terminator Genesis, 13 Hours, Secret of Benghazi, Home, the Lego Batman movie, Mission Impossible Fallout, and Dead Rating Part 1. Bad Boys Red Die, Black Adam, starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel Foley, Assassin's Creed 3, sorry, just to name some movies. Crash coming to Marvel Studios, Shootout Walt Disney Studio Pictures. It was released July 9th, 2021 here in the U.S. Let's say it was supposed to come out like in May of 2020, but due to the COVID-19 happening and pandemic, well, in March, whatever. But when COVID happened, they shut theaters down and movies got delayed. The film's budget was $288.5 million to make. Box office made $379.9 million worldwide. Now I would call it a hit, yes, but I wouldn't call this film. It wasn't a huge hit as Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, but it did make money. The most violent MCU. I've seen other Marvel movies that can be violent. Watch the Blade movies. Watch the Punisher movies. Despite Punisher Warzone, that's a cartoon, but I'm talking about the Punisher 1989 and the Punisher from 2004. Those are more violent than this. Fuck, the Punisher of 2004 used a knife and stabbed one guy's mouth. You know, that's more bloodier. And, yeah, and Blade, you know, taking stabs at the villains, and Blade 1 and Blade 2, Yeah, but the movie did get positive reviews. I don't know why. For the action sequences, apparently these critics have never seen any of the action movies out there, or clearly didn't watch any of the Captain America movies with Chris Evans or the Avengers movies apparently. But Johnson and Pugh got praise for the Pugh. I don't understand why. But for the film's marketing, I just remember the trailers. They said they had like toys out for the characters a little bit, which I don't remember. Yeah, I don't get why the critics praise this, but that's just me. All right, guys. You can hear me talking about the plot synopsis before I get into the review. Oh, and the film is about. Did I forget to say the running time? It's about 134 minutes long, about 2 hours and 13 minutes. Like I said, for being an MCU movie, it does have two post-credit scenes, including the end credits stuff. So that does include the 2 hours. But this film did not. Well, it's long. I do think they should have trimmed stuff down. But there are going to be spoilers in this review. But you can hear me talk about the plot synopsis for what this movie is about. All right, for the story of the movie, I was at 4:30, 4:55. Damn, and we're in 35 minutes. Okay, 35 seconds in the video. Okay, minutes, whatever. Anyway, the story of the movie is that Natasha Romanoff. This takes place after the events of Captain America: Civil War. She's on the run from Ross for not going, signing that paper, that deal they're supposed to make. When she's in Civil War, she helped Iron Man and eventually turned to Captain America's side, and now she's branded as a criminal. So Natasha has to go on the run from Thaddeus Ross, played by William Hurt. So the darker parts of her ledger of her past, this dangerous conspiracy arises, ties to her past arises. She's pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down. That is a place called the Red Room that controls the Black Widows. Deal with her past and deal with David Harper, Florence Pugh, and Rachel Weisz, like her family from the past. She must deal with her history as a spy and the relationships left in her wake. Long before she became an Avenger, and also she must team up with her former family to stop this guy named Dracoff, who's in control of the Red Room. They have to save the people, and he's got a really crazy, mad plan for to take over the world. And so Natasha, Black Widow, must team up with her family, and also must have to deal with Taskmaster, his super spy assassin, that is a pretty much tough enemy for her, a tough foe for her to fight. So she has to go up against them, and she has to stop the Red Room and take Dragoff down, along with helping her family out and defeat him once and for all. And going back dealing with her past and become an Avenger once more. You know, and that's the story for you. Yeah. So yes, this will be a rant review. Didn't want to do it, but just didn't like this movie. So before we get into the movie itself, just remember there are spoilers. So if you've never seen Black Widow 2021, God bless you, by the way, if you haven't. I would not recommend it, but if you ever do, or ever plan to watch it, you've got Disney Plus, don't watch this review. I don't want you spoiling it for yourself. That's just a warning, because I don't want you to spoil it for yourself. Don't do that. Please don't. So let's get to Black Widow, shall we? All right. With the film's opening, I'm gonna talk about the movie itself. Let me give you my final thoughts. You might hear some ranting in here too, so this is a rant review. Yes, I'm kind of pissed off. This movie did piss me off, but not very much as a few other movies will. But anyway, the film opens up in 1995. You have a younger Natasha Romanoff. You see her riding a bike. This is the little girl that plays her. I didn't really care for the actress too much. I didn't like her blue hair either. I thought, okay, that was a little weird. Woman to kill the blue hair, that's not weird, but I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. But you see her riding her bike, they're living in this neighborhood with Rachel Weisz and David Harper are her parents. Her and her sister are playing their home in Ohio, but their surrogate parents are, and her mother, who's also a former Black Widow. Yeah, and it's Alexius, David Harper, he's like Russian's answer to Captain America. He's the Red Guardian. He has been for some time. He works for Dracoff. Uh, she gets hurt. They're about to eat dinner, but they said, girl, with that great adventure we gotta go on, we gotta go now. They're trying to be they're on the run. Some people after them. Yeah, they're preparing them for the Red Room, but they gotta get on the run. I do like the moment David Harbour uses a rifle to shoot some guys off. He hanging on the plane. Rachel Weisz gets shot, and apparently the young Natasha Romanoff, I don't know if she's ever flown the plane before, but apparently, so I guess a trainer or two, flies the plane. They take off. Rachel Weisz is hurt. Like, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. You know, and apparently these guys in the military, she's able to take a gun away from kick him. I'm like, she's like, I'll kill all you. I'll kill. I don't believe it. I'm like, fine that this old girl can kill these men. Number one, she's not been trained as a freaking spy yet. She might be trained to do some stuff, but not fully trained. And they make her badass. But anyway, David Harper's able to take her down. They give her a shot. David Harbour thinks that he's going to be in good favor with him or whatever, or do more work for him. Things are going to go well, but apparently David Harbour's character he gets thrown in prison. Yeah, for the training. And I hated the opening of this movie. I'm sorry, the song sucked. I hated the song that they play. Like, what you do, even Spider-Man Far From Home, if you don't like it, I Always Love You, I Will Always Love You, played by Whitney Houston, and that movie was a lot better than listening to this. Ant-Man, first Ant-Man movie had a good theme song, a good song in it. A lot of these Marvel movies, they open up. This is unusual for a Marvel movie because I'm expecting the Marvel logo and stuff. Dun, 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 dun. I love that opening. That to me is a Marvel movie. It should be like that. But we're getting these opening titles, and the opening titles suck. We just see the memory of them growing up and them becoming assassins. And honestly, I didn't find this that interesting. As soon as this film opened up within these first 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you lost me. I don't care that Natasha has a family. I'm going to go on about in this video eventually how they could have done it better. I think they could have took it should have taken place events after Iron Man 2. They don't show that. Oh yeah, all that past you see in Avengers: Age of Ultron. Spoiler alert! You don't get none of that, which sucks about this movie. We don't get it. We just get no. Scam lightly. I'm not talking to you. They constantly call me. Not kidding, they do. But for damn sake, I mean, God's sakes, can you? Why couldn't we get the whole story of that background? You know what? I'll explain it all later. Okay, you could have done a better movie. But anyway, it takes place 21 years later. Following the battle between the Avengers at the airport. Roman Office labeled a fugitive. You see her on the run. Just at the mirror, she gets a call from William Hurt. And again, it's heartbreaking to see William Hurt though in this movie because when he's walking with the cane, I think he was really sick. That prostate cancer maybe was so bad he had walking cane. I don't know if it was just part of the character. I do think he did look sick, you know. And even Natasha Kato's like, "You're coming after me? That's a big mistake." They're about to catch her, but she's like on a ship, whatever. I was disappointed with that. I wanted to see like a big action scene. Why can't we get that? That would have been cool from Ross. So she goes to contact Rick Mason, which apparently the two, he's like, hey, how you doing, Natasha? I'm here to help you. Give me this equipment. He gives her equipment from time to time, helps her out. He's a good friend. Apparently they were lovers, I guess. Love. She was a former flame. That would have been interesting to explore, but they never do that. They don't really do anything with, yeah, talking about him, his character in the movie, Mason. They don't do anything with him. Barely in the film. I'm like, you could have explored more of the relationship. I'd rather just have that. Seemed like a good character, but they just don't do anything with him. Yeah. Of course, though, Elena Puke Face, I'm gonna call her Puke Face. I don't care if anybody. Again, I don't like this actress. I don't like British actors too much. Somebody do. Like, damn it, I know the fucking name. I was just thinking of one British actress I do like, but I'm not gonna say it right now. Yeah, Julie Andrews, played Mary Poppins. I love her as an actress. She was great as Mary Poppins. She's an English actress, I'm sure. Well, I guess I don't know for sure, but there's some good ones out there. But I don't like Florence Pugh. Yeah, she's still working for the Red Room. They're trying to assassinate this girl, or whatever. She goes up this girl named Osaka, who's a former Black Widow as well. She goes after her. She runs, but Osaka gets run over by a car. Yeah, we don't get a good chase scene. So Elena fights for the Shindy bracelet. Elena's weak too. I'm sorry. I don't think she's that bad. She gets her arm weak. Yeah, she's not sharp, and then she's like sprayed up with this stuff. It's with this substance called red dust. It removes the Red Room's control over her. She sends the antidote to Romano's safe house. Well, basically, Romanov talks to Mason later, and Natasha, she's like, just in at nighttime in her camper, and she's watching Moonraker, Roger Moore's fourth time as James Bond. I really watch Moonraker over this, but that's just me. It's a better film than this. I think that film had better special, especially in space. It had better special effects than this. It's more entertaining to watch James Bond fight Python than anything in this movie. Elena just, the stupid the stupid witch gets your pink face gets her face played by the red dust. I'm like, what if she had a sword? I mean, not a sword, but a knife, cut you in the throat or something, killed you because you weren't paying attention. They should just kill the character off. Maybe have her character go for a minute. No, we didn't need this character in the movie. So she thinks that Natasha will help her, even though you haven't seen Natasha for 20 years. I'm surprised she's dumb, and I think, oh, she probably won't trust me. She probably thinks I'm dead. So she sends her this antidote to Romano's safe house that she'll help, to return to her, to help her. So she gets the antidote. She drives off to go find out who sent it to her. And then she meets Taskmaster, who, she gives a shot first. As for Taskmaster, what they do with this character reminds me of the Winter Soldier. Like I said, this film does take its first Winter Soldier, with mind control a little bit. Because Taskmaster's character, this character, I'm sorry, but the actress I like plays this character, and the costume is awesome, by the way. I love the costume. She's just Winter Soldier. Yeah. And the villain Dracoff, he's more like, Alexander Pierce, Robert Rivers' character. I'm like, so this movie copies the Winter Soldier a little bit. The only difference is that, she can analyze your moves, your fight moves and stuff, which I do think is cool. They do fight, they do that pose. And her and Natasha fight a bit, but she like kills Natasha to get away from Cat, you know. It's a pretty decent fight, but some of the editing I thought was terrible as well. But she jumps into the water, she escapes with the antidote. Excuse me. So she learns that came from Elena. Then she goes to Budapest. They said we got to meet each other. He's like, I haven't seen you in years. They point a gun at each other, and if you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. He's like, why did you contact me? Well, you should have called and write it. Thought you were dead. No, it wasn't. I was really alive. But they fight a bit, and it's a really shitty fight scene. And it gets even shittier when the other Black Widow show up that are mind controlled. And again, with this mind control, this also reminds me of X2 X-Men United. Honestly, Ray Winston's character also reminds me of Brian Cox. I'm talking about William Stryker from X2. That he wants to control the mutants and stuff. But X2 was a lot better. So was Winter Soldier. Why? Because they both have better stories that I care about. You know, and characters I like more. And of course, she also says that Dracos. Well, they before the Black Widows come to attack them, she tells them that Dracos alive, but she says that she was on a mission to kill him and his daughter when she worked for the KG before she joined Shield or whatever, or it was a initiation for her to join Shield. Okay, whatever. I call BS on that. But she blows him up. You assume the daughter died. Spoiler alert: she didn't. Yeah. The daughter is actually Taskmaster. Taskmaster grew up to be. Because Draco got control over his daughter's mind. Oh, so kind of like his son. No son. No Charles. My son Jason. No Charles. My son is dead. Jason. Remember Jason controlling Patrick Stewart's mind X and X2, Professor X's mind, pretending to be a little girl stuff, trying to get him to kill all the units and stuff. Yeah, that's who he reminds me of. She reminds me of a little bit. You're just copying movies. You know. But anyway, the two Black Widows come. They run from them. Crappy fight scene. They get out of the building. One of the Black Widows They jump on this pipe or whatever. This like tower. The tower falls. Natasha tries to help. She tries to stab at her. Natasha lets it go. And Natasha falls like I think that's maybe like in the building wise 10, 12, 15 up. I don't know. But she falls off, hits like these two pipes on the way down. And they look like sewer pipes, but I don't know what you call them. Vents. She like hits these two vents and and that's it. Now, if this was realistic, yeah, it would be realistic. She falls from 15 feet high or something like that, and she hits the windpipes or whatever, these pipes or whatever, these vents, and and she just falls on the ground in the water next to the gutter, and she's fine. Not a broken bone in her body. Just, oh, my tummy hurts. That's it. I'm like, yeah, and it's very unrealistic. I get it's a movie. I get it, it's a movie, but you pulled a Fast and Furious director, Kate, or the freak your name is. Kate Shortland, yeah, you copied the Fast and Furious moment there, didn't you? Anyway, she tries to talk to the girl, like, let me help you. She's like, no. And just shoot at her. She's like, kill me. So she doesn't say nothing. Doesn't take no pill to kill herself. She just shoots a weapon and kills her. Yeah. But they get away from Taskmaster as well. They get chased by Taskmaster. The shitty car chasing. I didn't care for that. Uh, they get on the bike, which is pretty cool on the bike on it. But they get off the bike. Taskmaster, which I thought was cool. Like they're running Winter Soldier, but Winter Soldier did better with when he sees them and puts that weapon under the car to blow up. That was a better scene, better action scene, and with Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury fighting up against the Winter Soldier. You know, but Taskmaster shoots this arrow, blows the car that they're in. They magically survive. They get out. They run down the subway. They escape in this vent and said that her and Clint Barton, now Hawkeye, escaped in there just to hide from their enemies for like 2 days or something like that. So they were playing tic tac toe as well, as you can see like covers on the wall of it, markings of the wall of it on it. Taskmaster jumps down to find them. Yeah, this character can copy moves and stuff, but she can't trace somebody. Can she just trace their blood and so much trace them? But I guess they don't have that in. Okay. Then they go to break David Harper out of prison. He's in prison. He's David Harper. I'm not gonna lie, I liked him in this movie. He was the best thing about it. He stole the show. He made me laugh. He's like, oh yes, this dude do work. Haha. And he does what's it called, arm wrestling. Yeah, he breaks the guy's arm. He gets this guardian Charlie and Charlie has told him they break him out to learn where Dracoff is. And again, Scarlett Johansson is decent. I do like the if you've seen the poster, the white costume she wears. This is the only time she wears it. Dracoff though, I meant for being a superhero. Well, I guess you say he's getting older. This guy, this officer attacks him with a taser, just brings him down a little bit. So Black Widow Natasha helps him out. She fights some guys, which is pretty cool. And the CGI is just awful. When you see the avalanche happen, because I think like Black Widow shoots something at it in the sky. One Puke is horrible. Puke face is horrible. Is awful at riding an helicopter. I can't drive a helicopter. Her character is terrible at it. Apparently, she didn't learn that at all being Black Widow. Learn to drive a helicopter just in case you need to. You know, but her accent was annoying too. But yeah, and the whole thing with Evelyn's falling down. Oh my god, I've seen better special effects with snow in movies. The World Is Not Enough. That kind of reminded me of the avalanche scene from that as well. James Bond movie, The World Is Not Enough, and that was better. The disappearing car and dying of the day, I think, was a better special effect than anything in this movie. The CGI here was awful, especially with the avalanche. That was awful. They get away. She says, "Where's Dreykov?" He's like, "I don't know. I don't know." You know. Tries to talk to him. Was like, "Let's go to. We gotta go meet Rachel Lee now. Whatever. We'll make it there." They don't make it there, and then they get out of the plane. Here's both of them. Tell them, "I love you both. You grew up. I'm so proud of you." And they said, "Well, our life is like this to you." I was like, "No," and I didn't care about this family drama. Is this a Black Widow movie? Why couldn't we get a Black Widow rated R movie? It was such a good story, but no, we gotta get a family movie. Black Widow became a family movie. I'm not saying Marvel can be family, but when I watch a Marvel movie, I want to watch it mainly for the character that it's about and a good story. You know, so they need to be at Rachel Weisz, so they go her farm. So she mind controls pigs. She's the pig whisperer. Again, she's not attractive to me. She's never been a good actress. I was really annoyed by her in the moment. Here she's just a deadpan performance. Then they'll have lunch, dinner. Beyonce says years that they were not every family. She still wanted to believe that they were. So I do like it though when Harper puts this on his guardian suit on, and he's a little fat, so he's hard to put it on. He's like, it still fits, you know. And and it's like, we're not a family, we're not a family. I thought her acting was terrible. We're not a family, we're not a family. Don't get away from me. Then they sing that American Pie, bye bye, Miss American Pie, and Natasha and Rachel Lee's talk. They're up to something actually. Meanwhile, they get attacked. She gives her location to Dracoff, so his agents drive take them to the Red Room. Well, take them down. I like when David Harper was putting his red mask on. I mean, putting his mask on. He's like, they shoot him there. I was like, I think they can get me with that. And then they like shoot him with like 15, 17, or 18 darts or whatever. I don't know. But it was quite a bit. I was like, oh, passes out. Uh, Natasha's passed out, and Elena sees her mother. You know, which was like, I'm sorry. And they said, they take him off to the Red Room. It's like in the sky, kind of like Shield is, his aero base. He congratulates her for finding Romanoff and Bono, but it's real that, he's like, what if all this shit don't touch me? Then you find out it's revealed that they use face masks. Again, like in Winter Soldier, remember when she pretended to be the secretary or whatever? That was the actress from American Werewolf London, where Scarlet wore the mask. They do the same thing here, and that they're having this conspiracy. Talking about how the world should be and why he runs it. And she also learns that takes this mask off, and it's like a spoiler. It's like I said, it's his daughter, so it's like you totally remind me of William Shatner, Brian Cox from X2 X Men United, and basically she's Jason, but not in a wheelchair, not strong with it. Jason was strong with his mind, but she's strong with him like a freaking Terminator. She's about to shoot her first, like no, you know. She tries to like hit him. I don't like the hated woman, but I do like when Charlotte is like, "Oh boy, you hit like a little girl." She teases him, but she can't be violent. So she can't shoot him. She can't stab him with a knife. And meanwhile, Rachel Weisz takes her mask off. Guardian, Red Guardian, David Harbour's talking about his feelings, about his this way, and I thought that was funny. He fights with, it was cool, a little cool fight scene he had with Taskmaster. They eventually lock her in. Lena gets up. She's able to get this knife out, attack these guys. They're gonna like open up her brain, mind control her again. But she gets out, escapes, and finds them, and they're gonna try to blow the place up. He also locked a pheromone locked in every widow, including Natasha. He's been controlling all widows around the world. He goes Drake open and punching her in the face. She's able to though use a severed nerve in her neck nasal spot just to navigate it to get rid of the in her neck or whatever. She's like, "Thank you for your cooperation." Kind of reminds me of the Avengers when she tricked Loki. That's what I like her about Romanoff. Mid Romanoff as an agent, Natasha. She's good at tricking you and get playing a game that he could possibly take over the world. A lot of damage. A lot of people could die. You see all these explosions. What he could do. He takes it. She attempts to take Tim's engines. Yeah. Red Guardian battles Antonio. Yeah, she does. It would get hit on eventually. And she's like, I'm going to be a better version of myself. I'm not going to let you control my life anymore. Like, where's my mother? He's like, well, your mother died this years ago. Feeling that he always had her ever since she was a baby. He got control of her. He controls all these other women. Blah, blah, blah. Natasha then gets her ass kicked. I mean, gets a bunch of women teaming up, ganging up on her. But eventually, like, she finds the antidote. Yelena throws it. Smokes out, and like, yeah. And what are we doing? They make their own choice. They choose to get out of there, of course. She copies locations to the drive just as the river begins to explode and fall. She picks up the red dust. Then Ray Guardian and Rachel Weisz, they escape out of there. The craft, and again you have crappy CGI in the sky where, Yelena tries to sacrifice herself by destroying the ship. I mean the helicopter they own that by blowing um by destroying it. making a sacrifice like she's Jean Grey or something. Which that fake image of Jean Grey when she sacrificed to save the X Men to get the X jet out of there. Yeah, that kind of reminded me of that a little bit. That was more emotional. If Elena had died, I think I would have just been happy about it. Calm down. It's just a character. Then Romanoff, they have a final battle, which I thought was crappy CGI. They fight a little bit on the ground. And they land on the ground. Then she uses the smoke on her, freeing her from her father's mind control. And Romanoff, not Romanoff, but anyway, the bad guy, Dreykov, died in the explosion. It's crappy CGI. Kind of reminds me of Hulk 2003 a little bit. He wears glasses like me, and his glasses just blow up in the air. The CGI was terrible. So she says to the widow's and her family, goodbye. Does her pose, stands there as they go, get free or whatever. She instructs Beloved to give the red dust flowers, find the other widows, and free them. Yeah. Then the movie is 2 weeks later. Romanoff now sporting blonde hair. You know, tells Jason that you're gonna get sticky from me. I appreciate it for the acquaintance. And she goes right up to free the Avengers from the raft. To free the rest of them. I think because Cap, yeah, Steve Rogers broke out. Can you tease me? Sam Wilson, the Falcon, he broke him out of the prison, and she breaks out the rest of them. I'm including just Wanda and Clint, and well, even though, yeah, but they do mention some of the other characters, like when she's talking to William Hurt, he mentions Ant Man. Yeah, they do mention some of the other MC characters in here. Then you have the post-credit scene where you see Romanoff's death after Endgame. You have Julia Dreyfus playing Constant Valentina. I can't say the name right. Who's her employer? I wish you could get paid more. I wish too. This assignment that Clint Barton was the man that claims he was responsible for Roman's death. And this one she's going to go on the show Hawkeye and try to kill him, and then of course come back in the role of Thunderbolts, and I believe Avengers Doomsday as well, which I don't look forward to. I didn't care for that post-credit scene, and the movie ended there. And that's Black Widow for you. All right, guys, let me get my final thoughts on Black Widow. Or even do this. Sorry, but yeah, that's it. That's the movie. Sorry, I was looking at my phone, but I did not care for this film. First of all, what did I like about this movie? Well, like I said, I like David Harper. I thought he stole the show. He was a lot more. He was very entertaining in here. He was funny. He's the only thing that made me laugh. I like some of the action scenes with him. Taskmaster. I mean, well, maybe Scarlett Johansson. At the end, I did like her performance at the end, but there were times where I felt Scarlett was just doing this for the money. I didn't see the passion. I kind of felt like she was just phoning it in performance. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong, guys. Scarlett Johansson. The moments in this movie, I do like her. I love her as a character, but it just seemed to hear to me she just didn't care, or just her performance was just phoning it in. Yeah, and I don't blame her entirely though. You know, yeah. And I like Taskmaster. Taskmaster's a good villain. Good villain. Some of the cast, I like Scarlett Johansson, despite her, but David Harper was the best. Olgi Carntal as Taskmaster, I can't say her name right, forgive me. Ray Winston was alright as the bad guy. I don't care about Rachel Weisz, other the characters. The directing, you know what I hate about this movie? I hated the story. Like I said, this is more of a family movie instead of a Black Widow movie. This should have been a rated R movie. I could see that happening. Deadpool and Wolverine, anybody? It would have been cool. Here's what I would have done with this movie with a better story. What they should have done is it should take place the events before. What we should have seen is more Black Widow's past, of her childhood, her mother, and her mother gets killed by the bad guy. Gets taken away from her, and you could have Natasha being a young little girl. Her mother gets taken away, gets killed. She gets taken by the Red Room by Dreykov, and he turns her to be an assassin. And something years later, she finds, because it takes place what, in the 90s, 2000s. Because the 90s, 2000s, you had, if you could have met Sam Jackson or, Clark Gregg character, Agent Coulson, maybe they could have given Coulson something to do. All right, Mason. She could have teamed up with Mason, and we see why they were in love with each other. They could have played more on that. Because I like this character of Mason. Like I said, they were past lovers. That's what the movie suggests. But they don't explore it. You could explore more of that, and then we could have seen more of her past, just flashbacks. Kind of like in Batman Begins and Man of Steel. Now I'm not big on Batman Begins, but at least Batman Begins was filling you in on the story about the past a little bit. Yeah, Man of Steel was even filling you in a little bit. It didn't give us the whole history because we knew that it's just back and forth a little bit. I know I complained about that in Batman Begins when I reviewed it, but at least it was trying to, give us trying to fill in the blanks, if you will. If that makes any sense. You could have filled in the blanks. And I wanted to see Black Widow's past about the Red Room and his horse past, and they really skipped that. It seemed pretty dark, and it's like, you caved out, Marvel. You fucking caved out. You can be dark, but no. You take that out. Just because it's a female super movie, females gotta direct it. Again, Kate Shoreline, please don't direct another super movie. You suck as a director. Don't call me sexist because again, I can sit here like a female director and tell you which ones I do like. Like I said, I watched Big yesterday with Tom Hanks, Elizabeth Perkins. That's a great movie. That's a classic. That was directed by a woman, I believe. Yeah, but the story by and the writing by Eric Pearson, the story by Jake Schofer and their bits, it was not good. Why do we have to give her a family? And then what they could have done, she could have met Sam Jack. Well, eventually, Dragoff could have been trying to take over the world with mind control. He could have been trying to do something bad, and she, as now, is becoming an agent of Shield, or her way to being at the Black Widow KGB station. Just Black Widow, they call her. That's it. Don't have these other Black Widows. Fuck that. Fuck that mind control. Let's rid off the Winter Soldier shit. Just say Dragoff's some mad guy who wants to take over the world. She had to stop him. She does. She saves the day, and maybe Mason could have died. You know, Coulson could have been injured, and Coulson, could have introduced her. We could have saw Sam Jackson at the end, our post-credit scene telling her, she could have became an agent of Shield. You could see her, like flashes of her doing these works, and eventually, like at the end credit scene, post-credit scene, Sam Jackson comes to her and says, "I have an assignment for you. It's to deal with the billionaire Tony Stark." Shows him a picture, and it's Tony Stark, and this begins Iron Man 2. I'm just making a suggestion for a better movie, okay? So let's freaking do this movie. I'm just making a suggestion. I'm not a filmmaker, but these writers and stuff directors suck. They ruined the movie for me. Tim Feach is reducing this movie. I don't know why he just let this crap be. Cinematography, I will say the cinematography was also not. I like the cinematography, but the CGI special effects was awful. I've seen better effects in Winter Soldier. Even the first Avenger has some better effects in there. Yeah, sometimes there's CGI in there too, but yeah, a lot of the Marvel movies have CGI in them. Some of them are actually good. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1, 2, and even 3 has good special effects in this. You know, so the director said some of those effects they're a lot better than your movie, and all those MCU movies, by the way, they might have horrible special effects and all that, but they have better stories. You know, all you did, Kate Shortland, was rip off the Winter Soldier because Taskmaster, she's just like Winter Soldier. Uh, Ray Winston's character, Dragoff, he's just a rip off of Robert Redford's character, Alexander Pierce. He's the same fucking guy controlling everything behind the scenes. Mind control. Oh, X2 X-Men United. Yeah, we haven't seen that before. Controlling them units. Yeah, putting them under mind control. The whole thing with his son Jason. That was a little different, but nearly the same thing. Hmm. And they're both nearly overweight. So yeah, and they both wear glasses. Brian Cox wore glasses. Hmm. And he has something to do with Natasha's past. Ugh. Shark had something to do with Wolverine's past. Yeah. Because he created them in the anti-venom clothes. So apparently he created Black Widow. But we don't explore that. No, we just got to go with the let's copy the Winter Soldier thing. Yeah. The music, I do like some of the Russian music in there that they put in. Some music I do like, some points of it. I didn't like the song at the beginning. I thought the song, this whatever that song was, and the opening credits sucked. One of the worst opening credits I've ever seen in the movie. Yeah. The film is 2 hours 13 minutes long. You could have cut some of it down. I don't like Rachel Weisz. I don't like Puke Face. I hate her as an actress. I can't stand her in here. She's awful. She's annoying. And when she makes fun of her poses, I'm like, first of all, I love Scarlett's poses as Black Widow. It makes her a badass, and it's sexy. Something Two-Face, you are not. You ain't Black Widow to me. Yeah. You're ugly face, Widow. I'm gonna call you ugly face. Puke face is what you are to me. Yeah, but this film is 134 minutes long, 2 hours and 13 minutes. Too long. I mean, as you know, some superhero movies are made, but it didn't feel that long. The pacing I thought was pretty good. At least the pacing was good. The story just was bland and uninteresting. Like I said, Scarlett Johansson, I did somewhat like her performance at the end of the film. I did feel like she was showing some emotion in there, but it felt like sometimes she was just maybe in it for the paycheck, just phoning in half the time. I just didn't care for her performance much in here. She was good, but I think David Harper gave the best performance out of everybody in here. And so did the extra play Taskmaster. Taskmaster looked really cool. But I felt like you could have made this character more. You could have made Taskmaster maybe plant bombs around and Black Widow has to stop him. More fights between the two. You could have done a lot more than rip off another movie that we've seen before. Yeah, you're just ripping off stuff. Anyway, guys, Black Widow screwed this movie. I hated this film. Yeah, I hate it. This is full feature. You know what? This is gonna be called Never Rant now I think about it. It didn't start out that way, but just became one. If you like the movie, that's cool. To each his own. I don't understand what's to like about this film. Kudos to you who like it. But again, I'd rather watch Supergirl the movie from 1984. Supergirl 1984. I even look forward to the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie. That'll probably be better than this. I hope. I hope. Supergirl the movie. I'd rather watch that. I'd rather watch Black Scorpion. I'd rather watch Tank Girl. If I'm forgetting any female superhero movie, now it's not as bad as Catwoman and Elektra, no, but you come close to it though. Yeah, it's not as awful as Birds of Prey either. Birds of Prey is worse. I hate that film. That's one of the worst. I'm sure Madam Web is worse. I don't doubt that. Yeah, Elektra sucked. New Mutants. Yeah, you can call that a female superhero movie. You know, there's men in it, which makes no sense, but whatever. Captain Marvel, Tank Girl loved. Yeah, I enjoy those movies. Barbed Wire. No, that's well, I would. That's probably gonna be a bad movie. I can tell. But at least Pamela Anderson's probably sexy in that movie. That movie's more instead of a movie that more looks like porn. I'm sorry, I can't take that woman serious as an actress because of her looks. But anyway, Black Widow just sucked. It was boring. It's one of the worst female superheroes out there, in my opinion. Guarantee, I wouldn't say it's like if I had to pick the top three, it'd be Birds of Prey, Catwoman, Elektra, and this would be number four for me. But it's not the worst. But it's one of the worst superhero films too, and one of the worst female ones too. I'd rather watch Supergirl and Black Widow and Captain Marvel and the Marvels. Yes, I don't see why this film was all that great. To each his own. If you liked it, I don't get it. We can agree to disagree. That's just my opinion, folks. So anyway, my rating for Black Widow, I'm gonna give this film a thumbs down, and my rating for this film is 1 out of 5 stars. 1 out of 5 stars. So again, my rating for the film is 1 out of 5 stars and a thumbs down. So guys, tell me what you think about Black Widow down below. What do you think of Scarlett Johansson as the character? What do you think of this film in your opinion? And if you disagree with me, cool. We can disagree. We can agree to disagree and move on. Oh, guys, if you want to see me do more videos, content, or when you want to know about that, just press the subscribe button. Press the little bell on there. It says all personalized. You'll see my community post for the next reviews, the next videos I do. And when you push that button anyway, it'll let you know when I upload the next video on the channel. Even if you don't have well, if you do have YouTube and you subscribe to me, it will pop up on your phone and say, "Leave me now. I uploaded a new video." You'll see it right there. But anyway, guys, that was my review of Black Widow. Take it what you will. And so the next movie, this film came out. This was July. I did review Batman Long Halloween Part 2. Yes. I did share my review of the first Part 1 as well. I will do the same thing for Part 2. But August, this movie came out in August. And that is, I know one friend of mine, Gregor, who probably hates this film. Mainly because of one actress. I don't like her either, but I don't like either Gregor, but I do like this film. Not because of her, for different reasons. But that is The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. Definitely look forward to reviewing this movie. It wasn't perfect, but it's definitely better than Black Widow in my opinion. Oh, I love this poster. Yeah, this is a very entertaining movie. But anyway, guys, I won't be reviewing this movie till Friday. Friday. So stay tuned. June 6th, this Friday, I will be reviewing The Suicide Squad from 2021. This came out in August, I believe. So The Suicide Squad is next. But I do have my issues with it. Mainly the two people here on top. Yeah. But other than that, I do like this film. So guys, the Suicide Squad will be next. Yeah. Yeah, the cover here you see King Shark. Yeah. And I did like the Suicide Squad movie, but you'll see that when I review this movie. So stay tuned, guys, for the next review, which is also a DC movie, The Suicide Squad, coming up next. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye. And hopefully, since I'm off the weekend, I'll probably get to do more reviews, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.